All right, here we are. Wake up, West Coast. It's lunchtime out here in Corona, Michigan on the Shiawassee River. As you can tell, I didn't do a whole lot of anything to prep for the show because I've been crazy busy doing all kinds of other things. So we got in the house. What's up, Joseph Burke? What's happening with you today, bud? Having some of my water. Oh, God. I gave up on that keto thing, man. That was crazy. So is this thing just go now? I started it. I did the new setup and everything. Did you try it out? Does it just like automatically fire everything now? I have to go check. I'm not sure, dude. I've never tried this new method. It works flawlessly. I love to hear that. I love it. Stability is key, man, all the way. So we've been up to Joey, Joseph, Joe, man. What do you prefer anyway, Beth? I haven't zoomed in on my anything here. We ran the dog to the vet this morning. I always wonder why you got to pay $25 to have your vet look at your dog when you know he's perfectly healthy. He's a little overweight. We gave him a few more cookies than he probably should have had, but you know, that's the way it goes. So I'm trying to do some remote work out in Missouri. Where's Stacy? Stacy's in Missouri, right? Where are you at now? You're in Tennessee. You did last night across Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and your profile. All right, I got to see if it's on, because I'm actually broadcasting out to Livebox too. Let me see what's happening here. I might be broadcasting like tenfold all over the place and not even know it. So I just went into the back and set my stuff up. Can you like turn them off then and go back to the broadcast section without getting booted? Because I kept wanting to come in with my phone, but I was connecting somehow through the app the wrong way. So it's like when I go to jump in the room, it's not giving me a code for my phone. It's just like, I can toggle on the hamburger menu. Where's the hamburger menu? Hamburger. Broadcasting resources. Simulcasting channels are there. So if I click on it, don't click it or it kicks me out, right? It's going to blow me out of the room. So I can't change it during a broadcast. All right, that's what I thought. That's what I was afraid of. That was the nice thing. That's one of the cool things. I'm going to throw it out there. Stage 10 lets you, it's a little toggle switch that you can turn on and off while you're broadcasting. So if you've got all these pages and groups and RTMP feeds that you're sending out to, Twitter, Periscope, whatever, you can decide what's on and what's off at any given time. You just click, and go down the list and like go, hey, we're back on Facebook again, that kind of thing, and just out of nowhere. So I don't want to leave the room. All right, well, that's cool. I know. So Joseph, looking like I said, at working over in Missouri. I thought I was going to be going to Missouri this week, tomorrow even. Here, I got to adjust my mic a little bit here. 1 second while I make a lot of noise with it. I hate it when I do that. Yeah, we're putting in some provisioning centers over by Stacy's place, all around Kansas City and St. Louis and Springfield. Should be interesting. I'll give you guys an idea. I can't show too much, obviously, but I'm just doing the CAD plans. So the design drawings for the site has to go through the state of Missouri. And basically, I'm working with my son-in-law on this. He's working for a company that's an acquisition team that acquires the properties, builds the units, and then flips them and turns them over. So there's toggles for the shows you schedule. Oh, all right. All right. I will have to look at that. So there are toggles for each one that you schedule. Cool. And I've seen the setup. I used the setup to broadcast this, but I got to check and see if I'm working. I got to see if it's working right. So out here at Wake Up West Coast, if you're not familiar with what the heck we do and why we do it, I come out here just to speak my piece every Monday at noon p.m. Eastern over here in Michigan. We're here. That's how we do that. We like to show people where we live. We live next to a river called the Shiawassee River. And it used to be actually this town that we're in, Corona, was the first coal mine that was ever built in Michigan. And just down from us, which I was hoping to do, but I couldn't with my phone. Maybe if I try another number, I could do that. I was going to take you guys out in the river today. I was going to walk in the river and show, and I might come out live later, show you guys what's going on because they're clearing trees down the road from us in the neighbor's yard because they're going to be taking a bunch of heavy equipment in to tear out a dam that you guys always see in my videos when I'm outside. That dam's going away. It's an old granary mill that used to have a water wheel. And so there's all this old concrete dam structure that's out in the middle of the river that we go up and fish at. You know, I walk upriver and just stand underneath of it. But it's got to go because nobody wants to take care of it anymore. It's like some people want to say it's their responsibility, which would be the DEQ. And they're saying it's the city's responsibility. And the city's like, we didn't put it there. And, you know, it's not our problem. So there've been quandary. It's been a big quandary here, but now it's like $1.2 million to get rid of this thing. I told them, heck, $500,000, a few sticks of dynamite. I would have gotten rid of it for them, but they didn't want me to do it, so I stayed out of it. It would have been fun, though, really, I think, to watch. But I'm going to try to get out there on camera during the demo so that you guys can watch somebody tear a dam apart. I think that'd be really cool, don't you? I'll be like, if they'll let me, and they might cordon off the property or the river. I'm hoping I can get in there. They're not going to be using any kind of explosives. They're just going to be using heavy equipment. So that'll be kind of cool. So what's happening in the world, Joe? I don't even know what's happening in the world. I have not been in touch. I've been painting furniture for this. That's why I'm such a grub right now. I've been like, I probably have paint spots on my eyeglasses right now. So I'm going to open up the seats here because I didn't have a show plan. I was going to talk about some things, but it kind of got to the point where I wasn't sure. Well, maybe we'll just talk about medical marijuana, because that's one that comes up quite a bit in conversation, and yet not a lot of people discuss it thoroughly. There's a lot of these things going around, like I'm even part of one under CTFO. It's about changing the future outcome, and it's literally a network marketing program toward CBD products. And I'm not into network marketing at all, because it's not my gig. If you guys ever watch the movie Believe, it's a really funny mock-up of the entire industry of MLM. But go check that one out if you get a chance. Maybe I'll play some clips from it here today. It's just, they also have a retail affiliate program where you can sell products from there, like CBD hair care, CBD skin care, CBD vapors, CBD drops for under your tongue, CBD moisturizers. There's so much stuff now that's just plump full of CBD. Now, the stuff we're doing, like out in acquisition, isn't about CBD products so much as it is the entire medical marijuana industry. So when you go out, you're basically doing whatever you need to do to accommodate what's taking place in the country right now, which is literally an explosion of the use of marijuana medically and recreationally. Here in Michigan, we just recently received recreation approval, and that's very similar to the medical process. You can't sell it to your buddies. You can't do anything like that. It's all about having the right to grow it for yourself. And I think the limit's 12 plants. You have to secure them, so they have to be locked down, and you have to have only a certain amount in storage. I think it's like 30 some ounces or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers because I would never get that large. Never, ever. So when I look at it, it's just kind of cool that the nation, after 50, 60, 70, literally 80 years of prohibition, have finally decided that it's time to take another look at this plant we basically condemned in the 30s. It was mostly due to the oil and paper industries, who were so locked at arms with making profits that they realized the turnover that was capable with hemp was incredible. You could literally refurbish and recreate its own crop within 4 months to 6 months and not be tearing down trees to create paper, or having to grow cottons in large fields for blue jean material, denim material. So even the paper industry was at arms, because now they're dealing with ways to make paper literally from the pulp, and the seeds themselves could be used as a type of diesel fuel, because they were so high in a very petroleum style. I mean, it's so gooey and oily. It's unbelievable what you can do with some of the stuff. I've been eating hemp seeds that I can buy at the store, and honestly, they're really high in protein. You can buy them shelled or not shelled. So I haven't tried the shelled ones yet. I've been just getting the regular ones, and they were available at Aldi's. What was it? I don't know. 6 months ago, I grabbed a bag, and now I'm seeing them in the baking aisle. They have like a hemp flour as well. So when you consider all the possible uses, I have a CBD product right here that I've tried. This is Vita CBD oil. This is a vape oil. So these are used in vape pens, and this is strictly, it's three ingredients. It's literally vegetable glycerin, natural flavoring, which is a pineapple flavoring in this case, and the CBD derived from hemp. So there's no THC in this. Even if it were like 0.03%, it would be regarded as no THC. Joe, you're familiar, obviously, with what that. You turned 100 last night, man, and I missed it. Recorded our show last night. I want to see it. I have yet to be able to sit down and watch any podcasts at all. I'm not big on listening to podcasts. I don't know why I'm not. I've got an old, where's my old player? I think it's down here. I have an old iPod. Oh, there it is. I need to get hooked up because I know I can use my phone, but my phone's on a limited plan. This is my little iPod case. This is what I carry on my iPod in. So I'm talking like second gen, however old this thing is. It's monstrously old. Dinosauric, you might call it, or whatever. But it works, and it's got some stuff on it, but I don't have it in any way connected Wi-Fi. I'd like to have a cool little device that I can just, besides my phone. I guess I should just get the cordless earbuds. Huh? I have this, so I could sit around and listen to podcasts all day. So that's right. Your live stream show as well. I love it. And I need to see what you guys are doing because, man, I've just not been a comic book dude. I never was. I had a comic book here. I think I told you it was that first edition Star Wars. I can't find it, dude. I got pictures of it. I have pictures to prove that I actually had it. I think it's on this phone. Check this out. I'll show you. Nope, I gotta wait for it to turn on. So I've been growing outside. Yeah. First time. I got some really cool pictures of that. Here, let's bring that up. I'll share that with you. This is really cool. Where am I at? I got to get my little app up. So let me open my app. I've got this really cool app that I'm using now, and it's Mirror 360. I paid for it actually because I wanted something that I knew the license was solid and it would connect with whatever phone I wanted to use. So I can broadcast my phone on the screen, which is really cool. Let me get my desktop up here for a second. I just got to bring it on the screen. So if I add my desktop, I'm going to go with display over there. Display 2. And then I'll pull up my little app here. And I can show you what's on my phone. It's really cool. I think I did it the other day. Mirroring 360. It's made by Splashtop, by the way. So I've got this little app on my computer. It's kind of like TeamViewer, if you've ever seen it before. So I connect with my app. You probably can't see that. Nah, you can't see that. All right. Just going to minimize that. And once I minimize this, then you can see my screen. So here I am. I'm a little screwed. So this is my cell phone. Okay. I'm just going to go to my Google Photos. So don't be surprised if you see some stuff. We got tomatoes. Check us out. We got tomatoes the other day. Really cool. Love growing tomatoes. It's just we were really into this one. My wife was anyway into this one particular tomato that we buy at the store all the time. Caba somethings. I forget what they're called. Well, they're expensive. They're like the most expensive tomatoes out there. So I said, you know what? Just cut some seeds out of that thing and we'll throw them in a pot. And we've got these 3 huge tomato plants that have been growing tomatoes this year. So let me back out. But this was. I got some other cool videos, man. If you guys haven't seen some of these that I've done, picked up, but this is what I was talking about. See, this is mine. This is my latest. This is my little friend. Hasn't fully gotten to where it needs to go yet, but this is my first try, first time ever. It's actually bigger than this. It's about twice this size because it's gone into flowering stage. I'm putting 12 hours of light and 12 hours of darkness to it, and it's literally in about less than 4 days doubled in size from what you see here. I haven't gotten a picture yet, but I was hoping to get one this morning and actually go out to the yard and be out there. So yes, it's a mirror app. I love it. Mirror 360, Don. Mirroring 360. So I come back out of here, and this is the gnome home. I'm going to show you guys this too. I did a little video of the gnome home. So this we've put in our front yard. We needed something because we had this old pine tree in the front yard, and it was just one of those things that was a nuisance. It left needles all over the yard. It was blocking all the sun from our front yard. And then we just decided one day that we're going to cut it down. So we cut it down. And when we did, we went ahead and turned it into a gnome home. This is the front of our home. And Jenna's over there doing some watering. A terrible video thanks to this morning sun. And that ivy had to come out because it was literally taking over the entire gnome home. Jenna was going to go out and trim it up a little bit. It had strangled 2 of our fairies nearly to death. Actually, we have fairies hanging up in the tree. So there's all kinds of little things going on here in this gnome home. And it's just fun. The kids come over. We've got real life plants like the roses there and this flowering purple flower bush here. But there's like all these little abodes where these fairies hang out and live in their little terrain. And we've just had a lot of fun putting it together. The daughter and granddaughter tend to hit the dollar store every now and then. and grab stuff from there so that we can add to it. This is kind of a close-up shot of the front door, of course, with my big shadow in there. I was going to work some of these videos together as some B footage. There's a little better shot from the side to where we can take this. And I've spent quite a bit of time cutting into this. I cut the tree down. Well, I didn't cut the tree down, but I cut the holes for the door and everything with saws and chisels rather than doing... Oh, somebody's just dinging away over here. That's what I get for turning on my phone. I should have known better. All right. So that's been a work in progress most of the summer, and it comes and goes on and off again. We get out there, we try to do what we can with it. So that was been fun. The backyard we haven't spent so much time on, obviously, but this is the riverfront what I'm talking about, and you'll be able to see over to the right when I turn the other direction here on the video. This is out the back step of our porch, so we're basically right on the water. The bridge is over to the left there, and those are the steps down you see the railing for. The water will come all the way up to that staircase and top over the staircase during the spring thaw normally, but not this year. And as you go past the fire pit, you see in the back there, that's the waterfall I'm talking about, way back there in the back. And that's all coming out. So they're going to be going in about where I'm pointing the camera at now, and they're going to head over with the heavy equipment through the neighbor's yard and go from there. And there's some of my other stuff. And this is what I've been using. This is what's called God's gift. Just so y'all know. See, and I'm not afraid anymore to do this. I think there was a point in my life where I was afraid to do this, where I was afraid to show people what goes on in private, I think. You know, I was doing this keto thing. We started this keto thing. And I'm still sticking to this low-carb diet, this no-sugar, low-carb diet. Yeah, that's the regular. No, I've been growing 121 days, Don. No tomatoes yet. I'm not sure what's going on. You get the point. So I'm going to open up the seats and let's talk about that a little bit, because I know a lot of people still they're stuck in a stigma when it comes to medical marijuana and CBD products and things like that, because it's been so demonized over the years. And I think it's wrong. I think it should have never happened, honestly, in that regard. So seats are open if anybody wants to come in and talk about that a little bit. I was just sharing a little about what's going on, because I may be off air next week for Wake Up West Coast. If I'm busy as I expect to be, I'm not going to be able to air on Monday, so I'm going to take one week off probably. I got some traveling to do if necessary. I might. Other than that, I'm going to have a lot of work to do on these provisioning centers, so that should be taking up most of my time otherwise. So Joseph, Don, Gabe, what's been going on with you guys, man? I just came out to see if anybody was going to be around. I know the new features here at Get Vocal are really cool. So if you haven't seen the latest ability to come out here and program your broadcast out on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter or Periscope, whichever you want to call that, and an RTMP feed as well. They've got a really cool graphic interface now. And I can't show it to you currently because I'm on camera and I'm live in a broadcast. I will probably do a short video for my website over at BCB Live to let people see how the setup works over here now, because it is much more proficient. It allows you to know that you're connecting directly with the sites before you go live. And again, I didn't even check, guys. We need to go see if this broadcast actually took place, because I didn't go to see what was going on. Let me check the feeds, because I wanted to connect social. I don't have any social connected to you guys out there on Facebook. So if you're seeing me and you're not connected with me, all right, let's see, it's not. So let me check this. I'm going to log in on VMix, which is what I'm doing basically, so that I can access the feed. Sorry about that. I hit my mic. Forgot to sign into Facebook this morning. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think that's actually a good thing at times, when you don't show up and first thing you're on Facebook every morning. Seemed to be my problem for a while. Okay, so I'm just giving Facebook all of its authority that it needs to access me. It's unbelievable sometimes. All right, I just want to see if it actually fed the feed. And if it's out there, no, see, I don't see it. Wake Up West Coast, Season 3, Episode 4. This is Season 3, Episode 5. I ain't seen it. So either way, maybe it didn't fire. Maybe I didn't turn them on right. I didn't check. I got in here last minute, 5 minutes ago. I know I set up the broadcast and told it I was going to be simulcasting out, but maybe I didn't turn on all the switches. So Joe, is that what you have to do when you come out here now to make sure it broadcasts to all the places before you go live? Okay, cool. And that's probably where I messed up. Toggle the switches. Okay. And I thought I did when I created the broadcast. Don, what's happening, man? How you doing? Oh, I don't have headphones on, but go ahead. I'll probably be able to hear you in a second. I don't have you spec though. Well, here we go. I'm good. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm holding up, man. Just been one of those days I was figuring I'd come out and be all natural and screw prepping for the show. I didn't really have any time to, so I just fired up the can. I was going to go out on the river and do it from there, but I couldn't be in here to start it and join with my phone because it was attached to the same account.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have multiple accounts now.
Yeah,
I
I need
got
to
that
do that.
that Huawei. This one I've got it connected to a different account now.
You must
There's a
have the
Huawei
same.
P30
Oh no, I
Pro.
got an old. Mine's an old Honor 6X, man. Mine's ancient.
Oh, okay.
Mine's like 4 years old, I think now, something like that. But so I know you're a marijuana proponent, I believe, Donald. Are you not?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I've always thought it was ridiculous for any government to say it's illegal because
Yeah,
it's like it's something that naturally grows in people's yards in some cases. I mean, it
that's
grows
true.
naturally in a lot of places in the world, and it's not something you have to augment to get it to be psychoactive. You know, you
No,
just take it off the plant, smoke
yeah,
it, and you're good to go. And when I hear about people talking about alcohol's a lot more dangerous, and yet there was a time when it was illegal, and there's a time now that it's legal again. But still, I mean, there's no dangers from marijuana use. That just I don't see any of them or hear any of them at all.
I mean,
So
I always question because I have reaction times just like anybody else, and is there an altered reaction time? Yeah, there can certainly be that when it comes to like being in a vehicle, and there should be restrictions on how people utilize, but there's no way to test for people to say, well, he's had too much or he's still being affected by something that was 5 days ago. It's a matter of how do you test people who might want to smoke and drive and be able to say, yeah, you made a big mistake. You shouldn't have been on the road because it could have been from 3 days ago and still get a reading similar to you just did an hour ago. you know?
But I mean, I've never heard of anybody crashing their vehicle while on marijuana. It's not like I don't know, but
But
you
could
don't.
they? Yeah, come on. We all know it's possible. I think it's
Anything's possible, but
here.
you don't.
Hit the
First of all,
what?
I don't go anywhere if I'm deciding that I'm gonna smoke a bowl full of weed. I don't go anywhere. I'm just like gel. I'm sitting crashing at home or relaxing at home. It's like some people, they'll drink a glass of wine or two or three, and it becomes more than that, and then
Oh
they
yeah.
think, "Oh, my judgment's still good," and then they get behind the wheel. With marijuana, I could smoke one or two bowls and still feel like, I don't feel like going anywhere.
Exactly. And that's one thing
Even if I
I
did, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
well, I go back to my high school days, okay? And there was a period in my life for over 10 years or more, almost 15 years, I didn't touch the stuff because there was a point in my life where when in high school, we had smoking lounges on either end of our school. And you had to be 18 to get into the smoking lounge, but they allowed you to do so. My first day in high school at age 15, I was out there with buddies and turned around, smoking a cigarette, put it down to put it out, and looked up, and here's the principal inside the door looking right at me. So we had our little confrontation. He was like, okay, go to the office. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm so busted. First day in high school. And I went and sat down. And when he showed up 20 minutes later, he looks at me in the chair and he's like, oh, you came down here. It's like it was a surprise to him that I even made the effort. And we kind of hit it off after that. And I still went out to the smoking lounge every day of my high school years and
Hmm.
sat out with guys that would form a circle and do this every morning
Yeah.
before we went to class every stinking morning. So I would walk in with a chain on my wallet with a little crescent wrench and a roach clip and a bottle opener and my cowboy boots and my bell bottom blue jeans and my t-shirt smelling like reefer and would
Yeah.
walk into class 5 minutes late. But we always got A's on our stuff. We did all our homework. We were academic burnouts, basically. I had shop class, I had auto class, I had all those kinds of classes. But every break, every hour, just about, we were outside the building, literally getting high, and nobody stopped us. Nobody did anything. So
Yeah,
it
I
just
never had
one.
that experience. I didn't see that. As a matter of fact, I think there was only one kid, and this was even in junior high school. This was before we were even in high school, because
Yeah.
he was like one of those latchkey kids back in the day, and that his parents were never home. And so we went by his house one time because we were going to go somewhere else. We're on our way somewhere, and he goes, "Oh, I got to stop off and drop off my backpack and pick up some stuff, and then we'll go." So
Mhm.
we go into his house, and he's got one drawer and it's full of weed. And I'm like going, "Whoa, don't your parents have a problem with that?" And you got to remember, we're under the age, even high school students. I don't know if we were, yeah, junior high school. So I said, "Don't your parents have a problem with that?" And they go, "No, they smoke it too."
Yeah,
So
my
he
friend did.
started at a very early age, and it was just that attitude that he had about it, not just nonchalant, no problem whatsoever, was really kind of refreshing. I was like, "Oh, okay, well, whatever." But
That,
I didn't ever get into it because I wasn't afraid of it or anything. It's just that I just never had the opportunity to smoke it when I was in
wow.
junior high school and high
When
school.
was the first time you smoked it? When was the first time you took a hit off it?
With him.
So you were
I
how old?
him
Like,
twice.
so how old were you?
I must have been what? What's the age that you're in junior high school?
So about 14, 12 to 14,
Yeah,
usually somewhere.
14
That's
years
about
old,
where I
probably.
started. I remember
Yeah.
my seventh, eighth grade buddy of mine. We used to literally talk baby talk to the girls that were usually hanging around the jocks. We were the academic types. He ended up being a molecular biologist, actually. Um, but or no, no, he was a chemical engineer when he got out of high school. He went in. I think he went to Princeton. But in the end, he came back to where we were in school. I mean, he literally chilled out. He got back to his roots and things, but he was like lost in biology and engineering for years and just couldn't take it anymore. But
Yeah.
we used to literally, he had friends that would grow it in their backyards. And when we were kids, he would go over there and they would let him go over and clip what he wanted off of it. But he would clip the leaves. It was like he thought that was what you wanted was the leaves. So he would clip the leaves, and we would literally at sometimes soak them in alcohol, like whiskey or whatever, because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We were like, what is this stuff? What are we supposed to do with it? Never did figure out how to get high from it because we couldn't. Until one day I was 14 sitting on a snow hill with a bunch of high school kids that grew up in our neighborhood. I didn't know them that well, but we always passed each other on the hill that was down by the creek. So we were up at the top of the hill. We got to the bottom. Everybody crashed, and somebody said, "Hey, who wants to hit this?" And I look at my friend who I'd known for about 6 months. He goes, "Do you want to hit that?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. Never done it before." He's like, it should be too bad. Just go for it. So I gave it a shot, man. I was like all over the place that night as a 14-year-old kid, not knowing
Yeah.
where the sounds were coming from, or it was quite a buzz. I mean, I was like, wow, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
all through high school, I was burnt. And then even up until my first son was born, I was still smoking a lot of weed. And
Mm-hmm.
I was early 20s. So about 89, I was married. Around early 90s, I quit. And I went through a divorce in 2000. Then I was completely off it then. So there was a good period of probably 10, 15 years I didn't touch it. And then I
Yeah.
started having major problems with muscle issues and neurological issues in my legs, feet, hands, and just cramping, insatiable cramping. I couldn't satisfy it with anything. Muscle relaxers, nothing. And this is literally the only thing that helps me, the only thing that works. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm
Have
there
you
again.
have you had your like spine looked at and stuff
Oh
and
yeah.
checked?
MRIs, everything. I'm actually going back. I went to a cardiologist last week. I'm going back for a stress test and a lot of other stuff with the cardiologist starting next Friday or this coming Friday. I'm sorry. And then from there, it's basically a neurologist at the end of the month to see what's going on there because there's been certain ideas. A doctor watched with a pen when they watch your eyes go back and forth. I have a
Yeah.
lazy eye, which you can probably see when I'm talking. Usually, one of my eyes, this eye is lazy, so it tends to just rest in place, and the other one's always up and down with its eyelid. And he saw that, and he had me do an MRI because he thought I might have had myasthenia, which is myasthenia gravis, is a neurological disorder that can cause a lot of really strange things, but it's kind of like MS. It's deteriorating, so it gets worse over time. But they haven't confirmed it. Nothing in the MRI confirmed it. So we're just still trying to deal with this crap. I don't see it long, Gabe. It was national level. I think that 421 bill or 420 bill. Sorry, that was a major faux pas. The 420 bill that's in the House right now should fly right through. I don't see why. With enough liberals in the Senate and House right now to push this through.
Yang 2020.
I figure by the end of this year, by the next election, I'm sure whoever's going to try to keep it on the bill is going to be the one who's going to make the president. I mean, there's a lot to be said about where that's going and where it could go. But like the only thing I've seen gripe about is like Tennessee's got some really weird laws right now that they're not allowing people full access because they're freaked out, man. Most of these old timers just don't get it. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
They think it's the demon drug. Well, if you ever watch
movies like what was the name of that one movie?
Oh yeah,
you saw it in high school. Reefer Madness and all those kind of movies.
Oh, the videos they used to play on TV to condemn not only the use of the drug, but it had a lot to do with the black community because they were pumping heroin and marijuana into the black communities to try and make them look stupid and drug addicted and all kinds of other things. Of course, they became drug addicted when you dump a bunch of heroin into, a community that can't keep its head above water. They're not being fed properly. They're not getting food sources. They're not getting good jobs, any of that stuff. I mean, where are they going to turn? The drug. Yeah. So I just don't like it. I'm hoping to change it.
I like that Yang, though, Andrew Yang. Have you heard him speak? He's a presidential candidate for 2020.
Oh, no, I haven't heard him talk. I haven't been listening to many of anything when it comes to politics. I just got too much of my own politics going on that I got to worry about. So I don't think I'm even going to get too involved in it this year.
Oh, you will when you hear about this guy. He wants to put $1,000 in everybody's pocket.
I'll take it
every month.
Well,
and nice. He says it can be done mathematically. He's like a mathematics genius and a business wizard, and he's pretty sharp. So when I hear his ideas, it's not like he just puts it out there and just leaves it. He puts it out there and explains how to do it. And that to me has been the most eye-opening of any, person that's running for office. Well, he actually understands and knows how to do it.
The marijuana industry could get us out of debt. My God, you want to get this nation out of debt, grow about 40,000 acres of hemp and sell it to the world. I mean, there's no reason why we are in debt. It's freaking ridiculous that this country is in debt by any way, means, shape, or form.
Though, that that's one of the things that he's basing that $1,000 on. He says, because if you go to Alaska is one of the only states that gives a dividend to the people that live there of like $2,100 somewhere
to get them to stay there.
It's not just that. It's basically because of the revenue from the oil. Yeah, and he says the United States makes so much money, and he said that if they were to just put a VAT on Amazon, they'd be able to pull in the money that they need to do that.
Absolutely. And it's sad that they've let it come to this because they could have been doing this for the last 75 freaking years. And when I see what it's done to this country financially, and yet you let alcohol and other drugs like opiates destroy the nation by charging enormous rates for opiates that aren't helping anyone. They're just getting them addicted to a narcotic that they can't break away from. And yet they're using resin forms of rosin oils that are based on hemp that can pull them out of that addiction as well. So what the freak's going on here? I mean, somebody obviously...
pharmaceutical companies are the ones that are making that happen. Yeah.
We know that. We know that. But I just want to see people get access. We're getting 5 new dispensaries here in town. All right. I've had to drive to Flint or Chesaning, which the nearest one's about 13 miles from me right now. And they just opened up the licenses for 5 more. One literally about a quarter of a mile from me on the main drag out of town here. at an old gun shop. Larry's gun shop's gonna close and become a dispensary. So then downtown there'll be up to 4 more. They're combining them with coffee cafes and bookstores and things that, well, bookstores don't fly so well, but they've talked about building in like a Starbucks type, with a bookstore and a dispensary type, because you don't normally smoke inside these places. A lot of people think you can go to the dispensary and smoke this stuff. You can't. You can pick it up and take it home.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. But what I have been finding is like a lot of the retail stores, I don't know if you guys have heard, Kroger's coming out with its own CBD products now.
Oh, that's
It'll be available on the shelf. I see signs popping up all over the place in town here. CBD this, CBD that, CBD this. And I'm like, oh my God, And yeah, this little bottle, I got this one cheap. This one, I always look for best price. I paid under $20 for a 30 milliliter bottle of this with 500 milligrams of CBD. You can pay up to $100+ a bottle for the 1,000 or 1,500 milligram stuff like this, and 30 milligrams a bottle. That's
I think I got
$100 and some dollars. It's crazy. But I'm
not sure that it's ever had any kind of like positive effect. This is from a company called
I haven't either, really. Okay.
I honestly don't know that it's had any kind of effect, and I know that this is a reputable company because there's been people who have said that this company is actually tested very high for CBDs. And then I went back onto YouTube and I was listening to one of the guys who actually manufactures stuff for his friends that are dealing with cancer. And he says that because there's so many different compounds and elements to these different oils, that he believes it's really important to have a balance between THC and CBD in the oil. He says you get better benefit from it because it's not as it's less what do you call it, tampered with. It's more of a balance.
Yes, whenever there's more THC in a plant derivative or whatever you have, there's going to be less CBD. If there's less THC, there's going to be more CBD. It's just the way the plant balances itself.
Right.
And in that effect, you do want to kind of have both, especially if you're dealing with pain relief, because it's really taking the senses away from the nerve that's feeling the pain is where you're going to receive your relief, and in reduction of inflammation. So the CBD will reduce the inflammation, and the THC will help you just numb yourself of the pain. So you're dealing on both levels at the same time. And that's really where you want to go. That's what works for my back.
So that's the thing is like
North Thunderfuck. What a name for that one.
Yeah.
You want to find it, go check out God's Gift. It's the best thing on the planet, I swear to God.
Legendary punch.
That's what I showed earlier. Yeah, that's what I showed earlier was God's Gift.
Sativa dream. No, but they're saying the same thing because they sell seeds and CBD oils. What they're saying basically is that there have been people who say that their results are better when it's a balanced CBD oil. So yeah. But there's also these plants that they're selling seeds to where they have really good measurements of what it is, whether it's a balanced plant or if it's higher on CBD than THC. It's pretty amazing.
Have you smoked anything that's just like there's a specific strain known as oh no, I won't remember it. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. It's the one that's primarily CBD. Oh gosh. Anyway, it's like no THC. It's 0.01, 0.02% THC, but it's a smokable reefer. It's just it resins up. It has the terpenes just like regular reefer would, and you would expect. It has the smells, the flavor, everything. But you Canatonic. That's the name of it. Canatonic. It's a very well-known strain. It's been produced that way for several years, over probably 30 years now. And that's really what I'm trying to do. I've got a seed. I don't even know what it is. I think it's either a Durban poison or OG Kush, but I don't know for sure. I'm good on indicas. Sativas mess with my head. I don't like them. They like give me somewhat that paranoia feeling on occasion if it's really strong. But the indicas are perfect for me because I feel it from here down. It's just literally everything's like taking a Motrin or something, and I just kind
Go
of.
into the couch, kind of.
You can if you get if you get something really good that's got like a granddaddy purple or something in it, that can get really couch deepening. You just kind of, yeah, okay, I'm good for the night. See you later. But that's
I would
expensive.
have to get more into it to understand really and actually try some different ones because there's things like Bubble Kush and Blue Cheese and Pineapple Kush. Here's one called
Those are all good.
what is it called? There was one here. It's like 27%
Yeah,
THC, very low
and
CBD.
I've mentioned before in the past, I've shown everyone my vape pen, which I use a little 900 millivolt battery that's adjustable to like 3.3 volts up to 4.8 volts. And I use these 510 cartridges that are typical of the original vape cartridges that you used to see that looked like cigarettes with the black filter tip on them. I get the nicer ones that have steel tips on them for a few dollars, but those I simply get the concentrates that somebody has created. They take the buds, they basically spray them down with a butane. So these are BHO. And once they do, they evaporate all the BHO and vacuum out any air and bubbles that is within that resin material to create a solid. And that solid I mix with a very similar product to this, which is a vegetable glycerin. It's called herbal suspension. I pay like $9 a bottle for it. And I take 2 droppers of that to every gram of the concentrate that I would get. And I would pay $20 for the concentrate. Now, you can pay up to $100 for the concentrate, but it depends on what you get. I could make 10 or so of those cartridges that literally sell for $40 a piece in the dispensaries.
Wow.
And I paid $20 because 30 if you include the fluid that I had to buy, the emulsifier. And that's it.
Yeah.
A few cartridges besides. Or I just keep reusing the same cartridge. You can usually use that cartridge 5 times before it's dead. And you just rinse it out with alcohol. If it gums up a little bit, you got to take it. I get the ones that you can take apart. And then you just basically throw them back together, put your dropper fill in there, and you're good almost for 3, 4, 5 days with that pen without you don't bother people with the smell. You don't get the nasty flavors and tastes. But it is a little different. But it's like 70 to 90% pure THC, straight up.
Okay.
So as you knock it down, you're taking it down to around 40 or 50%. Yeah, like those, basically.
Okay.
Now that's vaping the bud. That's a bud vapor, though, right?
I'm not sure what it is. I just know that it's
what it looks like. Yeah, that's for.
There
are some where you can literally put the buds themselves inside a little carriage or cage. That's what it looks like that has. And it slides into the unit. And then you just apply vaporized heat or convectional heat to it so that it takes the terpenes, breaks them down just enough to where it doesn't ignite the actual vegetative material, but just it vaporizes the terpenes on the plant. And that's what you really are getting all of the chemicals from anyway. So yeah, I've done a lot of research on this stuff.
What do they call it? Carboxylation is what changes the chemistry of THC to a
THCA. Yes, because it has to have heat applied. And that's like a lot of people used to think you could just take a bunch of weed and throw it into a mix of brownies and stick it in the oven to make brownie mix. Well, you can in a sense, but the better way to do it would take a lot. And it's not going to taste very good. The best way is to take it and boil it down into a butter and use either I don't recommend vegetable oils, more like if you're going to do it, use a coconut oil, because coconut oils are really they're not as stable, but they stay liquid form much easier because they have a lower boiling point. So my buddy uses MCT oil for all the ones he makes, and he sells his cartridges for $20 because he's a caregiver. He gives them to his patients. And other than that, I just keep them for myself. So I use either the mix that I pre-buy. I haven't actually tried the MCT oil off the shelf yet. But if you can make the butter for the brownies by extracting it first.
Linseed oil, because I found out just recently that linseed oil is probably one of the best oils that you can ingest if you're going to ingest oil. Yeah, I didn't even know.
Avocado is another one. But avocado can blacken. It doesn't have a very high burning point, so it can turn black real easy. I haven't experimented with that stuff yet, and I'd
Yeah.
like to. Now that I have my own plant that's going for the first time, that I've actually, and this has been quite a journey because I have been defoliating that thing like crazy to keep it small because I don't have the room for it. And it's literally going to be a plant about this big and about this high. It's going to look like a candelabra, and it's going to have all kinds of colas going across the top, instead of like typically it's a Christmas tree. It would grow straight up with one big cola in the center and some stuff shooting off the sides like Christmas tree branches. I totally revamped the plant. I'm tying it down with methods that are low stress training. So you use ties and pull the branches back out of the way and have them pointing in certain directions. So I'll do a follow up on this with my plant because I've done a lot.
Yeah, I had a friend that grew it in his backyard, and at one point in time, the plant was way up over the fence. So he just grabbed the top of it, pulled it down, and staked it, and it just.
That's the best way to do it.
Yep. When they say weed, it really does grow like a weed.
It's strong.
It's so powerful.
It's very hardy, and it loves light. So you got to watch that you don't take too many of the main leaves off of it because they open up like little radar dishes, man. Those things are like the bomb when it comes to collecting energy. And I don't really give mine the fertilizer amounts that a lot of people use. I'm using a African violet food, which is right now, when you start the plant, it's got to be high in nitrogen and low in potassium and potash. What's the other one? Phosphorus. But once they switch over to flowering mode, you got to reduce the nitrogen and give them more phosphorus and potassium so that they can grow their buds. So it's a chemical balance to it as well. And your water has to have the right pH. So you want to keep it a neutral pH, but always in the alkaline end, if anything, never toward the acidic side. But I haven't had any problem with pH in the water. I've been giving it a lot of water lately, though, because it does drink like a beast once you get it going. But because I defoliated it so much, it took a long time for it to grow up and become a mature plant. And in doing that, it's like a dwarf. It's like a bonsai almost. And
sending out a lot of roots, probably.
Oh, yeah. I've got 15 bud locations on this one plant. And it's only this big. Literally, it's like this wide.
I saw a YouTube video where a guy did that. He needed to do that because he had a small grow room inside of his apartment. Mm-hmm. And it was basically one of those like foil tents that was 4x4 square. So he had two plants in there, and he had both of them just growing really super wide.
I've got two little babies started too. I want to clone this one. I've never tried to clone one. My daughters have done that quite a bit. Well, it's not supposed to be that difficult. They say water cloning is easiest. If you just slice it off with a razor blade at a 45 and leave it in water for a couple of weeks, you should have roots, and then stick it in a good medium. I use that coconut fiber.
The YouTube videos. They don't even do that. They take a clip, they stick it in rooting.
Oh yeah, they use the root cups.
And they stick it right into like one of those little grow blocks.
Yeah, I've seen them both ways. They say it's actually easier and faster and less expensive. Just use a cup of water. It's what my wife does with all her plant cuttings here, and I'm gonna give it a shot because I lost my first attempt, and then this one took off, and I've just been loving it. It's so much fun. They're such a beautiful symmetrical plant. That's what's really cool about the plant itself, is that it grows symmetrically on both sides, no matter what. If you attach something to one side, you'll almost see it affect the way the leaves grow on the other side. So there's this harmony centered down the center stalk of this plant that comes into play, and you can literally get it to do things. You should see it when it goes up and down. It looks like it's breathing, just like any plant would, but with the way the feathered leaves are on them, they just look so cool.
Yeah.
All right, Don. Well, it looks like it's been about an hour. I wasn't even planning on being out here this long today. But
it's fun.
So what's your favorite way? I mean, do you get it from the folks that you get it from, and you just put it in a bong? I've seen your bong out here before. I don't have a bong. I don't. I just don't. I made my own bowl yesterday, though. I should have brought that on the show.
I think that one is probably the first that's actually the first bong I've ever purchased myself. I mean, I've always taken hits off other people's, but no, the weed that I get is actually from a friend who has gotten his seeds from Holland. Like
Nice.
I got a batch of seeds from Holland, and the thing is with that company that I ordered from, Amsterdam Seed Company,
Mhm.
they
Heard
were
of 'em.
really cool because I started my seeds and I got my first batch grew up and they did really well. But the second batch that I got, you pay, sometimes
Oh yeah, it's not
10 to
cheap.
$15 for 3 or 4 seeds. So it's like $5 a seed sometimes on these really weird strains.
Ten's the
So
going rate around here, actually. I got mine. I was lucky. My daughter had some show up in some of her smoke, and I took them. There were like 5 or 6 of them, and I started with that.
yeah. But I was going to say though is that they were really cool because I had one batch that for whatever reason they just didn't germinate. I had
Oh yeah,
I had one seed germinate out of 10. So
the
I
bummer.
just basically wrote them a letter and they said, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll send you some more." And they were just really quick in the
Oh,
post
that's
and
good.
got to me. So yeah, they're really a good company to work with.
Amsterdam Seed Company, because I've seen Royal Seeds is another one that's in the UK.
Yeah.
I've never tried to order seeds online ever.
But this is Amnesia. This is where I got the CBD oil from. But
Oh,
now they sell seeds as well.
well, yeah. I wanted to leave a link for the one that I was showing you. This is actually kind of a cool. I signed up for this only because, like I said, it was the fact they had an affiliate. Sorry, I keep hitting my mic. It's right in front of me.
Yeah, some of these seeds are expensive. This one seed right here is $32 for 32 euros for 3 seeds.
Really?
So it's like 10 euros per seed.
I
So
mean,
there is some
that's
companies,
expensive.
some seeds that are expensive.
Now
But I
that
think
link
it's
I put down is for the CTFO program. If you wanted to get into CBD products and make 20% just selling them, you could off of that and get your own web page and site and everything. So it doesn't cost you anything.
okay.
And that's
That's
why I got
nice.
into it. Because if you wanted to pay for that, you could. There's 2 levels that you could pay for it at and actually get the bonuses off other people you recruit, like an MLM. But I don't go there. I'm not that kind of marketer. I never have been. I've tried it and I didn't like it, so I stayed away from it. And I know too much
Yeah.
about it from like an FTC level to know that it's not worth it. That they're all scams basically in the end. But this one, being able to retail it, you could still promote the product and say, yeah, I know some great CBD oils or vapes and still get 20% off the top without even having to do anything. At least I think it's still 20%.
Yeah, well, that's
Right?
what most of these companies count on, that you're actually buying more of the product than you're
Yeah,
actually,
and I won't do
like,
that.
oh, you get a discount. Cool.
Oh, yeah,
But
and that
I like
was,
this. I like this because they not only give you the description
oh,
of the plant,
yeah.
the brochure is very in depth. It gives you the THC levels. It tells you what the growing time is. So if you wanted a plant that's going to really grow, have a very short growth season
Yeah.
or growth
Oh, yeah.
spurt,
Yep.
you can go in here and you can look for that specifically. You go, oh, okay, this is when it's going to, start to bud up or start to fruit
Yeah,
up.
and there's such a variance, dude. That's why nobody will give you a final answer if you say how long does it take. It's well between 3 and 7 to 8 months. Depends on how you really, what strain you have, where you're growing it, how you're growing it, indoors, outdoors, how much light you have, whether you're fertilizing or not. There's organic, non-organic, soil treatment, super soil. Whether you're doing any of the actual manipulating of the plant as you let it grow or just let it do its thing on its own. There's, oh my God.
Yeah,
When I started digging into it, it was
I'm
nuts.
old school. I like to leave. I like to get plants outside as soon as
Yeah.
possible,
Yep.
and just let them do their own thing. Because I don't. When I was in Colorado, and this was years ago, before way before it was ever even thought of being legalized.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in the mountains up by Estes Park, Colorado,
Oh, nice.
and my friend goes, oh, we got to go over to this guy's house. We got to go get the front end suspension off of a 4-wheel drive Ford pickup truck. He said, I can have it. And I said, okay, cool. So we're driving up to this guy's house, and it just looked like a big ghost town. There's no lights on in the house, even though it was getting to be around
Yeah.
dusk, right? And I'm thinking, hey, where did you bring me, man? You could
In
be
a van down by the river.
so, anyways, we're just like milling around. There's nobody there. The guy who was supposed to be there was in jail,
Oh
and
no.
so, anyways, so he starts unbolting, literally unbolting the front suspension off this 4-wheel drive pickup truck. He's going to take the front differential off, right?
Sure.
And I'm just like milling around, walking around the property, and there's a big trucking container that it's got like a big trailer, semi trailer, and it's sitting there where they have the wheels buried in the ground, so you could just like walk up to the door and open the doors and go in. That was full of grow lights, and I'm like, whoa, man, there's so much money here in grow lights.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But that's back in a time when I said to him, he agreed. He goes, I don't know why anybody would spend the money and the time and the energy, the electric bills having these grow lights and stuff, because it's just the nature. If you take advantage of the nature, you can enjoy really nice plants outside all day long.
You can't beat the sun, the power of the sun, even though it's 93 million miles away. We cannot match it in any way, shape, or form with any lights that we have on this planet. There's just no way to compare. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I do with mine. I have a box about the size of that shelf behind me, let's say. It's a little lower. It's about this low, and it comes out about twice that in my shed. So it's all secured, and it has all my lights in there. It has fan units, which I just had to find a better 4-inch inline fan, but that's where I put them at night. But all day long, if I can keep them out in the sun, which we have had the best sunlight this last month, that it's just been incredible every day, literally hardly any rain at all. And it's just boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I just leave them out there in the sun, and they're just going like, oh, bring it to me. And they love it. And then I put them away for 12 hours. But that was the thing I learned. You can actually start these at 12-12 right away and grow them even faster. If you were to not do a vegetative cycle, which is usually 18 hours of light and 6 hours of darkness, and go right to a 12-12 pattern with your seeds as they sprout, you can literally get them to go into flower within the first 4 inches of their life. And they'll be smaller plants, but they'll, you can get something like this, and you do what's called a sea of green. And you just plant a bunch of these little pots in a box formation. And they're much easier to cover with lights. And again, like you said, go natural if you can, all the way. All right, Don, I'm going to wrap this up because I got to get to work on the dispensaries I'm working on in Missouri. So we're looking to put together some site drawings to put those in the ground. So if you're out there in Springfield, Kansas City, or anywhere near St. Louis, yeehaw, they're coming your way. But we'll catch you in the next. Yeah, that's where they're starting to put them now. They're going to continue to grow. I mean, every state's changing the laws every day we look, and who knows where the next dispensary is going to show up, or where the next ability to just partake of this plant that's been around for centuries, that's been used by the Chinese, the Indians, you name it. Everybody had a use for it one way or another, and we here in America decided it was just a bad thing. I think we're deciding otherwise.
We can't tax it right now. We got to figure out a way to get money out of it.
Have you seen the codes? It's literally like reading tax codes. When you look at the stuff you have to go through, the regulations, which I don't have right here in front of me, but basically when you open up any laws that have to do with medical marijuana, it's like reading tax code. They just had to make it complicated. There was no reason to make it this complicated, but they did. So everybody's got to get their chunk of the change.
The reason why I brought up that Yang too is because he's all for making sure that it's legalized across all 50 states. And then also he wants to go retroactive at pulling people out of prison that are in there for small offenses.
And they should be out.
So many people behind bars for that.
Yeah. And once it's legalized, all those people should be free to walk. I mean, there's no reason to hold them any longer, unless, you're dealing with people who were involved in a crime that had, large amounts of marijuana being distributed illegally or whatever. Then you got another issue on your hands. But for somebody who was driving down the park and got caught by the cops during his local rounds and found he had a doobie in his ashtray, that guy doesn't belong in freaking jail anymore. He just doesn't. Yeah. All right, Don, I'm going to close it up. It's 1 p.m. I am out of here. So, Don, I'm going to bump you. We'll catch you around next time on the next broadcast for sure. I'm going to step down. Oh, I caught him right as he was saying goodbye. Sorry, Don. I didn't mean to do that to you. But you know how it goes out here. Get vocal once again. This is Wake Up West Coast with your host, Leland Best, coming from the Shiawassee River out in Corunna, Michigan. We usually say we're somewhere in here. But I come out here every Monday at noon to talk about whatever people want to talk about. we network. We try to get people together from the East Coast to the West Coast and around the planet. Next week, I might not be available. I got a lot of things going on here in August with some work that's coming through from out of state. So look for the post. If I do put a post out next week for Monday, all's good. If not, then you'll see me in 2 weeks. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you around.